what is going on with the euro? Yesterday, we saw it rally significantly following FOMC, and today we're seeing it back off quite a bit. So what is happening here with the euro? Today's video, I'm going to shed some light on what's been going on, not just this week, but also 2024 with the euro. We're going to talk about the EXY, the euro index. We'll talk about the DXY. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you guys an update on gold. Even though this video is not about gold, I do want to point out something that is occurring today. All right, so what is happening with the euro so far this year? It has been a very sideways market, a very indecisive market. And before we get into the EXY, I do want to show you the euro chart that we typically look at here, right? And we've talked about this 2022 trend line a lot recently, yet the market continues to just kind of chop around, right? Yesterday, we saw a retest up here. So we saw a big rally following FOMC during FOMC. And then today we saw a little move above that to sweep the high. And so far today, the market is off by 0.42%. So for the euro, that's a pretty significant move. I mean, the market has basically erased all of yesterday's FOMC driven gains. So what's going on here with the euro? And not just this week, guys, but what is happening here in 2024? Because it's no doubt, I mean, there's no question that this market has been very indecisive over the past few months. Well, I'm going to shed some light on that. And for that, guys, we have to look at the EXY. So a lot of people don't know what the EXY is. This is essentially what the DXY is to the dollar. The EXY is the euro index. So this is a basket of currencies that make up the euro. And what you can see here is that going off of this 2021 high, or at least one of those 2021 highs, we have this trend line off of these recent highs. Now, this is a weekly chart. Okay, so keep that in mind that this goes back quite a ways here for the euro index. And what you'll notice here recently is that the market has been bouncing from this long-term support level. Okay, so very well defined here over the past few years. And what you'll notice if I move in, okay, notice this high right up here. We then have this high, the market wicked above, and this recent high here over the past few weeks. Now, this lower level, we have these two lows right down here. We've got all of these lows through here. And what's important for the EXY, for this pattern, is that this is being respected on a weekly closing basis. So what that means is that notice through here, even though we had these wicks above and below these key levels, okay, this is holding up right now on a weekly closing basis, meaning that every week is holding above this area. Okay, this area down here and below this resistance level that goes back to 2021. So this is hugely significant for the euro because not only does this explain why we have seen such sideways price action recently, it's because the market is coming into the apex of this multi-year pattern, but this also provides us with a potential opportunity in the coming weeks, potentially as soon as next week. And the reason for that is if you look here, right, this is the apex of this pattern, meaning this is where it comes together. And the euro is going to have to make a decision. Either we get a break above this area or we get a break below. Now, keep in mind that even if we get a break above, that could technically turn out to be a fake out. Okay, so we could see a weekly close up here, followed by a weekly close right back below. And the same thing for a close down here. We could get the market closing down here and then closing right back above. So obviously, those would be signals in and of themselves. But ultimately, the market is going to have to decide which way it wants to break here over the coming week. But this really helps explain, though, what is going on with the euro, why it's been so sideways over the past few months. Now, one thing I want to point out too, and I've talked about this for months actually, but if we go here to the euro USD, and I'm going to bring up a chart that I've talked about recently, but if you go to FXCM here on TradingView and go to a 3-month chart, okay, so make sure it's in linear. And what you're going to notice, I've talked about this a lot recently, but I feel like people tend to kind of not ignore it, but they kind of tend to brush it aside because it is a long-term chart. So the reason I'm using FXCM for this is because they use a pre-euro blended rate. So prior to the euro, which the euro didn't come about until back here, right? So before the euro, all of this back here is a pre-euro basket of currencies. So you get data prior to the euro's inception. And if you'll notice here on the 3-month chart, off of this closing price down here, we've got these lows, this low here, this one recently, and notice what the euro is testing here over the past few months. So this doesn't mean that the euro has to move lower, but any kind of bullish scenario for the euro is going to have to overcome this confluence of resistance. And again, keep in mind, this is a 3-month chart, guys. So this channel that you see right here goes back to 2008, 2009. This is a very long-term pattern this trend line down here is a 40-year trend line. Okay, so this region is going to be incredibly significant for the euro. So anybody who is convinced that the euro is going to remain bullish for years, for months or years, better take a look at this chart, because right now what you can see is that a few months ago, last year, we got a retest up here. Okay, so a retest right here as new resistance. And since that time, the market has been sideways. But now we know why it's been sideways, because if we go to the EXY, again, it has been coiling within this massive triangle pattern. So we know why it's been sideways, but we also know that it has to break out here over the coming weeks. So ultimately, guys, what we are going to watch here for the euro is if we translate what we're looking at on the EXY to the EURUSD chart that we're used to, right? And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this because we're looking at a range right now for the euro based on that EXY pattern. So for the EURUSD, what we are looking at is this high up here, okay, because this high coincides with the top of this triangle pattern on the EXY. Okay, so we're looking at the top of this, range here, and we're looking at this area around 1.085. Okay, so what we can say about this is that if we see the EURUSD either close a week up here or close a week down here within the next few weeks, that is going to have potentially significant implications, not just for a few weeks or a month, but potentially for the rest of this year. Okay, so we either get a weekly close down here or we get a weekly close up here. I think that is going to drive what we see for the rest of this year. And again, it all goes back to that EXY pattern, because this high up here and these lows down here coincide with the EXY and this weekly pattern. Okay, so this high up here and these lows down here. That right there is essentially, this is the 1.085 level, and this is right around 1.10 for the euro. Okay, so that's what we're looking at here for the EURUSD. Right now, obviously, complete indecision from this market, but there's good reason for that because, again, the EXY is coming into that apex. Now, let's talk about gold, guys. I want to wrap this up with gold because yesterday I mentioned it, and I talked about how this could be a liquidity trap, meaning that everybody who is longing up here could be getting trapped in the sense that we have these candles back here, right? These imbalances that have yet to be filled in. It doesn't mean that we will get it, but there is a decent chance. Now, I had some, let's call them, a little bit snarky comments on YouTube saying, well, how could you be so wrong about this? Look, we're bullish. But so far today, guys, this is kind of looking like a sweep of that recent high. And today's candle, although we still have 6 hours left in the session, isn't looking very bullish, okay? Now, to be fair, gold could close back above this level. We could close back up here. Okay, so we don't know how this is going to go yet. But right now, if you look at something like the 4-hour chart, if the 4-hour candle, okay, the current 4-hour candle starts to close below areas like this back here, okay, then this right here, this recent move becomes a fake out, and we're looking at gold staying within this range and then potentially breaking down from there. Okay, so I'm not saying to go out and short it yet because we don't have confirmation of this, but I did want to bring this to your attention just because I did talk about gold yesterday before FOMC. We obviously got the market moving in the opposite direction, but so far, gold has nearly erased all of the FOMC gains. All right, so a lot of times, guys, FOMC-driven moves are not what they seem to be, and gold could be certainly one of those cases. All right, so something to watch there. But for the euro, guys, really, the EXY is going to be the one to watch. The weekly time frame, these two levels, wait for a weekly close either below support down here or above resistance. And really, the market has to break out within the next few weeks, potentially as soon as next week. All right, so either, close up here, close down here. I think that's going to drive the euro for the rest of 2024. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for daily FX videos. Don't forget to smash the like button and also claim your 70% off VIP access. See the link in the description of this video for daily videos. You can see my trades in real time, plus help with your trading. Trade well out there, guys. I will talk to you again tomorrow.